Hey guys, Big Todd coming to you today with another gun review. And guys, today we got a good one for you. We got the Glock 43X in the Trump 45 finish. Let's check this baby out. All right, guys, before we get started today, please do me a favor. Like you just saw there in the animation, please go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, and share. Click those buttons right now. It only takes you a second. And man, you guys really wouldn't believe how much it helps this channel. We're still below 500 subscribers, so that's our goal. We got to hit that 500. Let's make that goal a reality. With your help, we can really grow this channel, and I can bring better content your way. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Today, we're going to take a look at the G43X, and I happen to be able to pick this baby up in the Trump 45th President Edition. So as we go through this pistol today, I want you to think about a couple of questions like I always ask you to do, and then give me your thoughts in the comments. So when Glocks first came out, what did you think about them? If you remember, if you were around when they first came out, I want you to give me your thoughts. What was your initial impression of the Glock? And then tell me, did you ever refer to them as the Tupperware guns? I know I did, and plenty of my friends did. Next question is single stack Glocks versus double stack Glocks. What's your preference? And then let me know, is there really a need for a single stack Glock? What's your opinion? All right, let's go ahead and show you guys that this gun is empty. There's an empty magazine, and there's the empty slide. Okay, as we always do, we're going to go over a quick little history of the manufacturer. Now, the simple history of the Glock is really the story of an Austrian manufacturer of curtain rods and knives that revolutionized the global firearms industry with a simple polymer frame design that became the standard really for modern handguns today. So in 1963, Glock was founded by a man named Gaston Glock. Here's a picture of old Gaston. Initially, Gaston's company produced consumer goods like curtain rods and brass fittings. But in the mid-1970s, the Austrian army announced they were in the market for a new durable field knife. Well, Gaston Glock, being the master of polymer injection molding, he designed a sturdy, simple, and functional knife that had a synthetic handle and a sheath. Now, this knife won the contract over its competitors. Here's a picture of that original Glock field knife. The field knife became the FM78 field knife. which had a high carbon spring steel blade and the durable polymer handle and sheath. Now later came the addition of the sawback on the blade, and it was dubbed the FM81 survival knife, which you can see here in this picture. Interestingly enough, Glock also won military contracts to produce grenade casings and machine gun belt links for belt-fed machine guns. In 1980, the Austrian armed forces sought a modern replacement of their World War II era Walther P-38s. Well, despite never have made a firearm before and having no experience in firearms, Gaston Glock entered the competition. He then assembled a team of experts and developed a prototype in just 3 months. That to me is just amazing. His design focused on simplicity, durability, and high-capacity magazines. Now, the pistol that came out was called the Glock 17. And that was a semi-automatic striker-fired pistol with a polymer frame that fed from a 17-round magazine. They called it the G17, and it only contained 34 separate parts. The model was called the 17 due to being Gaston Glock's 17th patent. It doesn't refer to how many rounds of 9mm that it fit in the magazine. In 1982, the G17 was entered into the Austrian Army sidearm replacement trials. Now, this endurance test pushed the polymer pistol to its limits. It was submerged in water, it was frozen in ice, it was caked in mud, it was dropped from buildings, and it was run over by trucks. The G17, it survived it all, and it was awarded the military contract for 4,000 pistols. So in 1983, Glock delivered the G17 order to the Austrian Army, and they designated it the P80. Now here's a pic of the original P80 or G17. By 1986, Norway and Sweden had adopted the G17. Then the United States ATF was given one for review, and Glock USA formed in Georgia, which allowed the first Glocks to be imported to the United States. Now, the first officers to drop their revolvers and upgrade to the G17 were 12 officers from Colby, Kansas Police Department. They were the first officers to trust their lives to this new polymer pistol, and they certainly would not be the last. Glock's polymer frame and high-capacity magazines, simplicity, durability, and reliability really outcompeted traditional revolvers for police and military. Early marketing success was aided by Hollywood, of course, and they featured this pistol in hundreds of blockbuster films and TV shows, like the movie Johnny Handsome, where Mickey Rourke's character acquires a first-generation Glock 17 from a gun dealer, and in the TV series Miami Vice. We all remember Crockett and Tubbs. What a great childhood we had. But anyways, in Season 3, Episode 13, Sonny Crockett, played by Don Johnson, takes the G17 from a rebel soldier. Funny enough, in Die Hard 2 with Bruce Willis, the G17 shows up, but wildly inaccurate. The dialogue in the movie mistakenly calls it a Glock 7 and claims it is a porcelain handgun invisible to X-ray machines. Well, Hollywood definitely upped the cool factor for Glocks. The consistent positive depiction on screen made Glock a pop icon, which transitioned it from a niche gun to a revolutionary product that eventually became wildly popular. Sadly, in December 2023, Gaston Glock passed away at the age of 94. But he left a legacy of over 23 million pistols in global circulation. So now's the time you all been waiting for. Let's dive into this pistol itself. So the Glock 43X represents a pivotal moment in the company's history. This is really the first time Glock truly deviated from its rigid design philosophy to satisfy specific customer demand for a slimline pistol. For decades, Glock's subcompact pistol was the G26, or the baby Glock. Now, the G26 was reliable. It was a Glock, but it was blocky and it was thick, which made it, kind of uncomfortable for many to carry concealed inside the waistband. In 2015, Glock finally released the G43, which was their first 9mm single-stack pistol design. It was a massive hit, but users immediately had two major complaints. The capacity, it only held 6 rounds, and the grip length. It was so short that many shooters' pinky fingers dangled off the bottom, which made it hard to control. In early 2019, Glock released the 43X. Now, the X stood for crossover, which was a design concept where Glock mixes different frames and slide sizes. Now, the logic behind the design took the slim slide, say that 3 times fast, of the G43, and it matched it up with a brand new lengthened frame. This frame was also wide enough to hold a staggering column magazine, which increased the capacity to 10 rounds, all while remaining thinner than the standard Glock 19. To keep the pistol thin, Glock had to move away from their traditional thick polymer-coated magazines and go to a thinner polymer shell to allow for the 10 rounds to fit in that 1.5 stack configuration. What Glock also realized is that they would need this to stand out on gun shelves. So they moved away from the traditional all-black look, and the 43 was released with NPVD silver slide finish. Now, obviously, this gun doesn't have that finish, and it's got a different fancy type finish. But originally, it was in that silver slide finish. Now, this was done to intentionally make the Slimline series stand out in your gun store display cases. Glock also changed their marketing for the G43X. Instead of marketing to operators, they started marketing to everyday carry community. They pitched it as the Goldilocks pistol. It was the just right pistol for concealed carry. Now, the concealability of the subcompact with the shootability of a full-size deputy gun really made this a nice pistol. The 10+1 rounds became the new benchmark for slim pistols. Glock marketed this as the ultimate insurance policy for civilian self-defense. Now, shortly after Glock release of the G43X, it released the G43X MOS, which stands for Modular Optic System. So slide-mounted optics could be added. They also added a rail for lights. As you can see, just the regular standard G43X does not have a rail. They market it as a professional-grade CCW gun. As far as the finish on this gun goes, well, back in the late 80s and early 90s, Glock introduced special edition finishes and engravings. And it was a marketing strategy to increase brand loyalty, to commemorate historical events, and target specific law enforcement requests. The first official commemorative was an engraved model for the Fraternal Order of Police, which was released in 1989. So here's the rundown of the G43X Trump 45 edition that we have here today. Obviously, the model is the G43X, and obviously, it is the Trump 45th President edition. Now, the Glock pistol is striker fired, and the action is striker fired safe action system, which is partially pre-cocked, which functions similarly to a single action, but often thought of as preset or modified double action. It is not a traditional double action or traditional single action. Now, the G43X is chambered in 9mm or 9x19 parabellum, and it holds 10 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber for a 10+1. The barrel length is 3.4 inches. The grips are polymer, and they're on this model with this finish, they're kind of stippled. But I can tell you, with all the engraving on here, I didn't have a problem holding on to this when I was shooting it. Now, can optics be mounted? Obviously not on this one. No MOS. Let's hit the dimensions on this pistol. Overall length is 6.5 inches, and the height is 5.04 inches. The overall width is a slim 1.1 inches. And the slide width is less than an inch, 0.87. The slide length is 6.06 inches. And the barrel length, like I said earlier, is 3.41 inches. Now, the overall weight of the G43X unloaded is 16.4 ounces. It's just a hair over a pound unloaded. The sights on this pistol are the standard Glock polymer sights, and they're designed for the slimline slide. Boy, say that one 3 times fast. They have this U-notch here on the back, and then on the front blade, they have the white dot, which a lot of people don't like, but it lines up pretty good. Now, Glock does offer optional factory steel sights as more of a robust alternative to these polymer ones that came on this pistol. And Glock also offers night sights. And guys, there are tons of aftermarket sights that exist for Glocks. Now, guys, let's talk safeties. The Glock has 3 safeties, and they all work together in a sequence when the trigger is pulled, and they re-engage automatically when the trigger is released. Now, first we have, as you can see here, the trigger safety, which is a small lever that is incorporated into the trigger. The trigger will not move. I'll see if I can show you that. The trigger will not go back if this blade is not pushed down. So this prevents the trigger from being pulled by lateral movements or momentum if the gun is dropped. Second is the firing pin safety, which is a spring-loaded steel pin. And as you pull the trigger bar pushes the pin upward, which clears a path for the firing pin to strike the primer on the round. Now, the third safety is a drop safety. The rear of the trigger bar rests on a safety ramp inside the trigger housing. It physically prevents the firing pin from moving forward until the trigger is pulled fully to the rear, at which point the trigger bar drops down the ramp to release the firing pin. Now, I know that sounds kind of complicated and you may not understand it, but let me tell you, there's a very good animation on how all of this works if you do a YouTube search for how a Glock works. Great animation. Now let's go right into the trigger. The Glock 43X, it features the Safe Action System trigger, as I kind of touched on earlier. It's striker fire design with a consistent pull and no manual external safety. Now the average trigger pull weight is about 5.5 pounds. The G43X trigger system is designed for safety, simplicity, and consistency, which is why it is a popular choice for concealed carry. I remember when Glocks first came out, people were totally afraid of them because they didn't have a safety. This was just a case of not understanding what was going on the Glock. Many Glock shooters will refer to triggers as mushy or grindy during the take-up, and almost indistinct wall with a rolling break. It has a short reset, and the reset is both audible and tactile, which can help with follow-up shots. Let's look at that trigger pull now. Let's talk about the frame. The frame is a slimline design that blends the compact concealed width of the G43 slide with a longer full-size grip length closer to the G19 style. The standard 43X, there goes that plane. The standard 43X model that we have here does not have an accessory rail, but a lot of the newer models often include one. The magazine release is here on the left side, but can easily be moved over to the right side, so it can be made ambidextrous. And the frame, like I said, is made of a proprietary high-strength nylon-based thermoplastic, which is often referred to by the company as Polymer 2. The exact chemical formula remains a Glock trade secret. Now onto the grips. The grips are full-length design with a built-in beaver tail, which helps provide a nice secure grip on the pistol while protecting the hand from any slide bite. The grip angle maintains the classic Glock grip angle of roughly 18 degrees. Many longtime Glock users say that the Glock grip helps them point naturally. This generation has no finger grooves on the front, which was mostly unpopular design with the Gen 3 and Gen 4 Glocks. Now on to the finish. So this particular Trump 2024 edition is in the crushed silver color, which is a Cerakote finish. The Cerakote finish is a high-performance ceramic-based coating that provides extreme durability and corrosion resistance. The wording on this pistol, it's got the Donald Trump, it's got the 45, it's got the preserve, protect, defend. And then on the other side, it's got your presidential seal up here, and it's got your Bill of Rights on the grip here. And that is all laser engraved. So laser engraving is used for this fine detail work, and it etches the finish with high precision lasers. The same lasers also apply the stippling on the grips. Now, the stippling on this side of the Bill of Rights really is just the raised letters from the Bill of Rights. And on the other side, the blacked out portion here is slightly stippled. Now that we got all that nerdy stuff out of the way, I would just say this gun is cool, and that's why I got it. I like how the technology has allowed us to basically turn this tool into a work of art. Myself, I am partial to mostly all black pistols, and I'll throw in some stainless here and there. But this gun really is just unique, and I really like the finish on it. Now, one of the things I really like about the Glock is field stripping, and Glock has made it super easy. Let's take a little time and show you how to field strip this G43X. Again, I'm going to show you that the pistol's empty magazine, and empty chamber. We're going to pull that trigger, and now we're just going to grab the Glock like this and slightly slide back, and we've got these two levers right here that you have to pull down, and they're on both sides. You can see it on that side. You can see it on that side. You're going to pull it back and pull those levers down, and you're just going to slide forward. And the slide comes right off. You got your frame, you got your receiver. Now you have your guide rod, and this is a double spring guide rod, and it's all captured. And then your barrel just pulls right out like that. This baby's still dirty from when I shot it the other day. Haven't had a chance to clean it yet. But here's the inside of the slide. And, Glock, very simple, right? But it works. It's reliable. External extractor there. And then there's the dirty frame. All right, let's put her back together. We're going to put our barrel back in. Put our guide rod back in. And now we're just going to line up our receiver here with our frame and our rails. And that's it, guys. You got it. Very simple. I really like the way the Glock field strips. Now, primary uses of the pistol. The primary use for and the reason the gun was developed is an everyday concealed carry, or EDC, and a personal defense gun. It is specifically designed to balance deep concealability with practical shooting ability. It can definitely be in the conversation for home defense, and to be honest, it is actually a fun little gun to shoot at the range, which makes practice much easier. I really enjoyed getting this out to the range and putting some rounds through it. Now, where can I get one? Well, the Glock 43X custom engraved Trump 2024 45th Presidential Crushed Silver and Distressed Black 9mm Special Edition is not made anymore. I cannot believe I got all that out. I did find a couple online, but they're listed as out of stock. I'm sure there's some floating around out there in gun stores or personal people wanting to sell them, but there's no telling what they're going to want to ask for them. The few I found out of stock online had a price of around $600. Now, just the G43X MOS, that's with the slide cut to accept an optic, can be purchased for around $485 with just a plain black finish. Let's talk about my overall impressions for this gun, my likes. First of all, off the bat, the unique statement the laser engraving makes. This is a collector's piece. It really stands out, and I really like the look of it. The Cerakote finish is durable, and then you have Glock reliability. And this baby is just straight up functional. It's a worker. It's not fancy. It just works every time. Now, I do like the slimline slide paired with the slim but longer frame. And this really is a recipe for easier carry, which means you're going to be more likely to pick it up and carry it when you go out. Let's talk about some dislikes. Well, the laser engraving of the Trump 2024 45th president and all that comes with it is a political statement. Now, this is actually a pro for me, but depending on your values and how you perceive the world, this could actually be a dislike. Some might say that it is a bit flashy, and a flashy firearm like this may draw unwanted attention to you. The price is significantly higher for these engraved models like this. Of course, this is going to come up as a dislike, and to me, it really is a wink point for Glocks, but it's the plastic sights that come on them. Many people change them out just as soon as they get the Glock before they even shoot it. 10+1 capacity is listed as a dislike or a con, but in a gun with this slim line and you being able to get 11 rounds in it, it really isn't that bad. And you can get aftermarket extended magazines for better capacity. I know this may open me up to a lot of people, but let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the G43X? And let me know your thoughts on the Trump laser engraving special edition like I have here. Guys, I want to thank you for watching this video and all of my videos. Again, if there's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments and I'll try to accommodate the best I can. Hopefully you learned something. I know I did. Please go ahead and smash that like, subscribe, comment, and also send this baby to your friends. Guys, have a great day.